Okay, let's go to the worksheet number 1 from your lecture number 1. So lecture number 1, make sure you review it before you watch your worksheet. So lecture number 1, we discuss about the measurements, units, uncertainty, and significance. Those are the main concept of the lecture number 1, that this worksheet is aligned with what you learn in there, right? Let's summarize what we learn little bit. And we talk about the significance, right? Significance is the basically how you're going to count number of digits in the given number in a meaningful way. That means that show the accuracy and the precision that we need. Call it as the sigfix. Sigfix is basically counting number of digits in the given number in a meaningful way, right? Simple example, if I have 2.105, this number we're going to count significance as 4. Okay, so make sure that you review again the lecture number 1, and also we're going to review on the bottom for some examples. Okay, and in addition to that, we discuss about the 2 specific rules when you do the arithmetic. One is adding and subtraction rule. How many numbers you're going to add, how many numbers you're going to subtract, it doesn't matter, you still going to follow the same rule. So we'll say I have 5.125, I need to add 2.12 to this number, right? 2.12, let's little bit reduce this number into, let's say 2.1, I need to add into this number, right? So now you know that if I go to the calculator, I definitely know this number has 7.225, right? After we learn the rules, we are not going to believe the calculator number of digits. We're going to keep the number of digits as we learn, right? So now in arithmetic addition or subtraction, you have to follow the rule. We call it as accuracy rule. Accuracy means more accurate and least accurate you need to find. More accurate means more decimal numbers. Least accurate means lower number of decimals. Then that means by watching these 2 numbers, you need to identify which one is least accurate. Least accurate means number of decimals are lower. That means this is what the least accurate means. Least accurate. As soon as you identify that, you're going to write how many number of digits, decimals we have, number of decimals in this number. Equal 1. So now you're going to match up that with your final answer. That means I should have 1 decimal in the final answer. That means my final answer, final correct, accurate answer is 7.2. That is the addition and subtraction rule, right? Similarly, we have multiplication and division rule. Again, doesn't matter multiplication or division, follow the same rule. Let's say I have to multiply 2.000. Good, use the easy one because I don't want the calculator. I can do the calculation easily. 5. If I multiply that, I will get 10.6. 10.6. Simple example. So now the rule for this is important. This is what the rule is. You need to count the sigfix. Different from the first rule, you need to count the sigfix and found the least sigfix number. From this one, you definitely know sigfix is 4. This one you have 2. That means this is the least, not the accurate, least sigfix. How many sigfix I have? 2. Now this should be matched up with here. That means you are not going to write this number. You need to round it up to get the 2 sigfix. That means your final answer is actually 11. Okay. So those are the rules. So after that, we definitely went to the uncertainty. and we call it as basically least count divided by 2. That means you need to find the least count of the instrument and divide by 2. If it is a analog instrument, if it is a digital instruments, you are not going to divide by 2 because it is showing the display what is the last digit in your instrument, right? Uncertainty is least count divided by 2 as we discussed. Especially we move into the ruler, and also you're going to learn about the vernier caliper micrometer in the laboratory. So for the ruler, this count was 0.1 centimeter divided by 2. That means uncertainty is 0.05 centimeter. So that can be a positive, that means upper and lower bounds of your reading, right? That's basically estimation of the ruler that you're going to read. Because of this reason, your ruler should have an answer kind of, we'll say I have 2.55 measurement plus or minus 0.05 centimeters. So now that this is your uncertainty. Uncertainty should be always this number for the ruler. And this is your measurement. Measurement should have 2 decimal places. Last digit here should be 0.05. That's the only validation you have. Other numbers are not valid in the second digit on the measurement. Okay. And then we talk about the units also, right? And unit conversion, SI units and those things. Okay, let's move into the worksheet because we discussed those in your lecture part more detail. Okay, my first question is find the area of the rectangle of the length and width, right? So you have a rectangle, length and width, 4.5 centimeters and 3.25 centimeters. Remember to use the correct units and significance for the final answer. I need to find the area of that one. Now, everybody know the area of this one, right? So area is basically, you multiply those two, right? So area is equal 3.25 centimeter. First time I'm going to write it, and 4.5 centimeter. So what will be your final answer for this one? Important thing here, practice your units multiplication and also practice your multiplication rule that we learn, right? Centimeter times centimeter, that will give you centimeter squared in units. Multiplication, you have to do the multiplication of units and also multiplication of the number. Division, you need to do the division of the number, division of the units. But if you have adding, like if you have 3.25, you need to add 4.5 or subtract 4.5, then you have centimeter here and centimeter here because you cannot add or subtract different units numbers. They should be the same units. Then your final answer is also centimeter. You are not adding centimeter, or you are not subtracting centimeter from centimeter. You are doing the same unit. Your final unit also the same in that case. That's how the unit will work. Okay, so now we know that it is centimeter power 2. And but what will be the answer in here? So now if you do the calculator 3.25 and 4.5, you're going to get the answer. But what is the correct answer in here? How many sig figs that I should keep? Now you need to go back and think the rule. You are doing multiplication and division rule. You need to check the sig figs. So now sig figs, I have least sig figs number is this one. This is what the least. Always label it, then you know what you are doing. Least sig figs. How many sig figs I have? 2. Right? That means your final answer you are getting, you need to write to the 2 sig figs. 3.25 times 4.5. Let me multiply that one by using the calculator first. 3.25 times 4.5. 5, give you 14.625. 14.625. That is not my answer, that is the calculator answer. Now I decide something. What I decide? I decide that I should have 2 sig figs. That means my final answer should be rounding up into 15 centimeters squared is the final area. Okay, so now let's move into the counting sig figs and write the answer. So state number of sig figs. Everybody know in this number I have 1, 2 sig figs, 2 sig figs. And this number I have 1, 2, 3, 3 sig figs. This number I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 sig figs. And this number I have 1, 2. Beginning zeros and ending zeros will not count. But if you have zeros in the middle or zeros at the ending after decimal place, you need to count this as 3 sig figs. So now next step is writing scientific notation, because scientific notation is very important way of writing the number. If you have very big number or very small number, writing in scientific notation is convenient for all of us to identify what that number is. In addition to that, very importantly, it can give you a correct significant figures, and you can easily identify number of significant figures by writing scientific notation. Let's see what is the scientific notation means. Scientific notation means basically you need to move your decimal place to the non-zero digit right side of that, and rest you're going to move into the rest means you move in places, you need to move into the 10 to the power. If you move decimal place to the right, you have a negative power 10 to the power. If you move in your decimal place to the left, that is a big number, that means you have 10 to the positive power, right? So now let's do this example. So decimal place I need to move into here, right? So now my answer is 2.58. How many digits I move to the left is 2. That will be negative because you move to the left. That is the scientific notation. And number of sig figs for this number will be 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And now decimal place is at the ending. I need to move non-zero digit right side. That means 4.23 times how many digits I move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 to the power 4, and number of sig figs in this number. Okay. And next one, need to move into here, right? That means I have 3.445 and 10 to the power 2, and that has sig figs 4. And this number to move into here, that means I have 3.69 10 to the power 2 and 4, and that will give you sig figs as 3. Okay, it's very simple. Okay, and now let's move into the ruler. As I mentioned, ruler should have 2 decimal places, and last digit is 0 or 5. That is your estimation, and your uncertainty is 0.05 in centimeters. One thing is unit is centimeter, that you always need to write, right? So now I need to measure the distance to this place, right? So that means you know that this is 3 centimeters, this is 2, right? This is 3, and this point line or division I have 3.1 centimeter. This line I have 3.2 centimeter. That means my reading is staying in between 3.1 and 3.2. So now according to the rule, my answer is 3.15. That is the measurement, and uncertainty can have plus or minus 0.05. So that is your final answer. And let's write it units, centimeters. Okay, so now somebody can think, oh, it's not past 3.1, it seems to me 3.1 exactly. Then my answer is 3.10. This second digit, although it is 0, you need to write it down. Okay, centimeters. That also correct. Okay, so whichever one you are reading should be matched with your positive or negative 0.05 with your friends, with your instructor, or with your other classmate. If you are measuring the same thing, it should be within the range. That's the important thing. Okay, number, right? And then add 34 to that. Then let's do the by using the calculator first, and then let's use the our rules, right? So we have 3.15 times 1.2465, well, 3.9 and plus 34. Okay, so your final calculator answer is 37.926475. Okay, but our rule is you do the multiplication and then you add the 34. When you add the 34, what you need to check is accuracy. So this is least accurate, right? As soon as you write that, you need to write number of decimal. Number of decimal in this number is 0. That means your final answer should not have any decimals in the answer. That means my answer, round it up, answer is 38. Okay, so now let's move into the conversion of your units and the numbers actually. So let's do the 55 miles per hour. So now when you move into this question, go back and check your lecture part because you have those conversion. 1 mile is equal to 1609 meters, and also 1 hour is equal to 3600 seconds, right? So now after you know this, make sure that you write down each steps when you do the conversion. So I have 55, write it in your words, mile per hour, right? And then we're going to use convert into SI unit. SI unit, your unit should be meters per second, right? That means 55 is still there. 1 mile, you're going to write it from meters. That will be 1609 meters. And your denominator, 1 hour equal to 3600 seconds, right? So now plug into your calculator and I got 25 meters per second. Did I check my significant rules or arithmetic rules? Yes, I did, because you have the multiplication and division rule. You need to count least sigfix. Least sigfix is 2. That's why I have 25 in here. Okay. And my following question is, do you exceed the speed limit of 35 meters per second? So definitely 35 is greater than 25. That means not exceed, right? Not exceed. I'm still safe in driving. Okay, so now my last question. A certain physical quantity Q is calculated using formula Q equal to A power 2 B minus C. And its units, how do you get the units? What will be the SI unit of Q? Consider A is kilogram, B and C are velocities. Let's do the unit conversion. 2 does not have a unit. I have A to the power 2. That means kilograms times kilograms. Kilograms power 2. And B minus C, both are velocities. That means B minus C also give me the velocity units, meters per second, right? That means the units I have kg power 2 meters per second. Okay, let's use in square bracket to show you units. Okay, let's stop here.